today. Grant Dawson beats the brakes off of a man and then afterwards shouts out that sweet dump truck of his wife's. Also, what about Tetsuro Taira going out there, showing that he had heart, but getting bested by the raw dog, Brandon Royval? And then, what about the savior among us? What about the all-action fighter? What about the Iron Turtle? What about him? What about Dong Park? What about him? All of this and more on today's episode of Matter of Fact MMA. What's up? What's happening? Let's go. What's up, guys? We right back at it. We right back with it. You know what I'm saying? Go Ravens. What you talking about? That Lamar Jackson out there doing big things. What about King Henry? What about Derrick Henry? Anyway, we are here to go over UFC Vegas 98. It went down Saturday night at the world's famous Apex Arena, where in the main event, Raw Dog Brandon Royval went out there and defeated via decision Tetsuro Taira. Outstanding fight, man. This was a great fight because it had stand up, but it also had a lot of scrambling and grappling. Not necessarily wrestling, major difference. This was a lot of grappling and a lot of scrambling. And it was just a good fight all around. And what you saw here was you saw early on in the fight, as he admitted to it after he won the fight, you saw Brandon Royval in the first round and the second round realizing that this kid ain't no joke. Like, he's realizing in real time, as unassuming as Tetsuro Taira is. I mean, he looks like a kid fresh out the library, you know what I'm saying? But, bro, Brandon Royval realized this in the first and second round, and it showed. He admitted he thought he was going to get him out of there in the first round in a few minutes. But, bro, Tetsuro Taira goes out there, and the first two rounds, he's technically trying to take Brandon Royval apart, right? Even though Brandon Royval would have a little bit of success here on the feet, here and there, a little bit of success in the grappling, he could not shake Taira off that body triangle that he just is so content to hold. Shout out to him for having the leg strength and the leg dexterity to be able, tremendous word for a dude from Kentucky, for being able to hold that on Brandon Royval, right? And what you saw over time, because the Raw Dog, he is relentless. I mean, this man is relentless. He's tenacious. He's whatever semi-big words you want to pull out. That's what the man is. And he never stopped trying to get out of these grappling positions or to roll out in these scrambles. And what you saw is over time, the equalizer was two things. Brandon Royval and his stand-up, his striking, and the fact that Tetsuro Taira does not move his head. Those were the two factors that led to the demise of Tetsuro. I mean, it was like, bro, when they were on the feet, you definitely saw this in the third round going forward. When they were on the feet, I called him Roy Dog, Raw Dog, was lighting this man up. He was lighting him up to the point where Taira was still like standing there in the fighting stance, but he was just getting popped in the head, popped in the face with the jab. He wasn't moving. He wasn't doing anything. He was just getting popped in the face with the jab. And you could tell he was trying to figure out when he was going to time his takedown, but bro, you got to figure it out in a much safer way than that. Nevertheless, Brandon Royval goes out there and gets the win, via decision. I do believe he deserved to win the fight, so there's no controversy there. Towards the latter part of the fourth round, And through most of the 5th round, you could tell Tyra was gassed. Not gassed like some heavyweights we saw earlier on this card, but you could tell he was gassed, but more importantly, he had just been hurt too many times on the feet. And it was like he was never truly rocked or dropped, but at the same time, bro, all of those shots, all of those jabs, all of those right hands, they add up over time. So shout out to Brandon Royval. He makes a call out that basically he's willing to fight anyone at the top to get that title shot. He's saying he doesn't mind being a backup fighter, and as well as, but basically, let's just get point blank to it. He wants the mini man himself, and I don't mean mini as in small. We talking about 50 Cent mini men. He wants Pantoja. He made there was nothing around that. He wants Pantoja. If he's got to be a backup fighter for another major fight in between then, he's willing to do that because he wants that title shot. He wants another crack at Pantoja. Shout out to him. Shout out to Tyra. He showed tremendous heart. He never gave up. I don't feel like he was ever truly, truly broken. He stayed in there as long as he could, but, you know, he's a young kid. I think he's only like 24, 25. He'll be back in it. You know what I'm saying? He'll be back. He's young. He'll heal up quickly. He'll be right back. And this loss, I think, will definitely propel him to higher places in the division because he now knows that just his grappling, just his scrambling isn't enough. He's going to have to incorporate some better entries on his stand-up. So shout out to him. Shout out to Raw Dog Brandon Royval, who moves forward. Let's move on to the co-main event where we saw Brad Tavares go out there and take a L to Dong Young Park, the Iron Turtle. So here's the thing, man. I'm always on the Iron Turtle. I always pick him. And rarely do I get let down, but for some reason in this fight, because I usually pick against Brad Tavares, and sometimes I take that fade there, like Brandon Tavares, Brad Tavares. I keep trying to call him Brandon Tavares. Brad Tavares will shock you. And I thought that was what we were going to see here. In the first round, it was looking good for Brad Tavares. But Dong Young Park, the second and third round, just ate Brad Tavares for lunch. Just the way that he would collapse the pocket and just stand right in front of Brad and just light him up with pepper and shots. Pepper and shots. Not a ton of power behind him. It would just be pepper, 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 power. Pepper, 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 power. And Dong Young Park was lighting the man up. He was not afraid of him. He did not care about going in the pocket. He was eating his wrestling attempts, his takedown attempts. He wasn't worried about any of that. Shout out to Dong Young Park. He goes out there, he gets the win, he moves forward, and I'm all for it, bro. I'm all for it. I will not pick against this man again. And he's a lovable character. He's a good dude. He seems like he's funny as hell. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to him. Outstanding performance as he gets Brad Tavares out of there. Also, I forgot to mention, the main event was Fight of the Night. Let's move on. Next, at welterweight, we had Chidi Njokuani stepped in there with Jared Gooden. Jared Gooden, like I said, bro, Jared Gooden is one of these guys that's around on the roster because he loses spectacularly. He says funny things in the middle of the fight. He has funny tactics and shenanigans during the fight. If he could just keep on making weight, he would have a job for life. Although he's having troubles making weight now, so I don't know how much longer he's got. Because the UFC needs guys like this. He looks like he's in pretty good shape. They need guys like this to trot out there against guys that they want to eventually be contenders and take huge L's. Now, I don't think that they're looking at Chitty Bang Bang like he's going to be a contender at all. But, I mean, it's you need guys like Jared Gordon to go out there and take the L. Shout out to Chitty. He goes out there. He gets the win. We'll see where he moves forward. Great fight. He wins by unanimous decision. Moving on. How about Grant Dawson? And shout out to Grant Dawson. Shout out to his lady. Shout out to his wife as he shouted her out and shouted out those sweet dumps that she might possess. I don't know. I haven't taken a look. But she may possess some sweet dumps, some sweet curves. Anyway, Grant Dawson goes out there and defeats Rafa Garcia. Man, it is what it is, bro. The tale of this fight was the wrestling, getting him on the ground and using those ground and pound strikes. Great mount. Took the mount of Rafa Garcia and then just went in with the strikes. Outstanding. Great performance by Grant Dawson. He's back in the win column. Great call outs. You know, he didn't necessarily call anybody out, but great post-fight speech, I should say. We'll see where the UFC moves him from there. Then we had D-Rod, Daniel Rodriguez, go out there with Alex Morono. He gets the win via split decision. I don't know if it really needed to be a split. It kind of looked like to me it could have been all D-Rod, but nevertheless, dude, D-Rod still looked a little bit older, looked a little bit slow, but, man, he just, same thing with Morono, man. He went out there, he looked sharp in the first round, then he starts getting tired. He's got like about 5 minutes of stamina, and then he starts getting tired, and then he starts kind of slacking off on his shot selection. His fighter IQ goes down, and that's all she wrote. Shout out to D-Rod. He goes out there and gets the win. How about performance of the night? Going to Ramazan Tiramov as he defeats CJ Vergara, as we all knew that he would. And this man goes out there, you know what I'm saying? I mean, wow. This dude, he packs dynamite in both hands. C4 maybe in one of them. You know what I'm talking about? This dude goes out there with these weapons of mass destruction he calls fists. And in these smaller weight classes, lays men dead on the ground. Calls their mama, lets them know, your son is gone. And I mean, it's just, shout out to him, bro. He goes out there, he does his thing. Next, we had Jonathan Pierce go out there against Pat Sabatini. He goes out there, he gets submitted in a dominant fashion by Pat Sabatini in the first round. Outstanding performance. Pat is back in the win column. He's back at it. We'll see where he goes from there. Next, we had Timba Garimbo go in there against Nico Price and did what he should have done to Nico Price. Nico Price, stop, bro. You got like 6 kids, man. It's time to settle down, bro. Quit getting your head beat in. You know what I'm saying? So you can remember your children's names, not disrespecting. But, bro, shout out to Timba. Hold on. No shout out to the UFC for not allowing this man to have a post-fight speech. Like, what are you doing, bro? This is the guy you put on the post-fight speech. He comes in with positive vibes. He comes in, he talks a good game. And it completes his feel-good story. You know what I'm saying? If you're trying to get the casuals and people to tune in and follow a fighter from the ground up, he's your guy. I don't know why they didn't have drag one-eyed Michael Bisping in there to interview him. Come on, man. Anyway, he gets a win via unanimous decision. How about Junior Tafa and Sean Sharif? Bro, Tafa had exactly 2 minutes and 50 seconds of cardio. And Sean had about 4 minutes. It's just he kept getting caught by shots by Tafa, and he didn't have the best fight IQ. And then it just turned into a sloppy, tired, heavyweight fight. But eventually, Tafa gets the KO. Man, I'm kind of getting sick of the Tafa brothers. I've been a fan of them. The only thing positive I can really say, I mean, they seem like fun dudes. Fun dudes to go have a beer with, you know what I'm saying? But as far as fighting in the most prestigious organization in mixed martial arts, only thing you can say about these two dudes is they get or they get got. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is. They either going to go out there, they going to get you, or they going to get got. Sometimes they get got by the stamina. Anyway, Junior Tafa goes out there and gets the win. How about Julia Postal? Let's just call her Julia. And she goes out there and she defeats Corey McKenna. Not a whole lot to say there. She was stronger. She had a little bit more of the physicality on her side, which is what I called in the build-up to this fight. She gets the win. How about Dan Argueta goes out there and gets defeated by Cody Haddon. Cody Haddon looks like he might be something. He looks like he might be something at bantamweight. Great striking. You know what I'm saying? Great combinations. It's good to see someone throwing combinations, you know what I'm saying, especially at bantamweight. And I know that guys have really good slick striking at bantamweight, but to see like 3-4 punch combinations, 5-punch combinations, great to see, bro. Shout out to Cody Haddon. He goes out there and gets the win. Finally, in a performance of the night fight, which is kind of interesting, Clayton Carpenter goes out there and makes short work and does his thing against Lucas Roca. Shout out to Clayton Carpenter. So, that was it, man. That was UFC Vegas 98. It went down at the world famous, the infamous Las Vegas Apex. Great main event. Couple of the fights are alright. Some of them were snoozers, but it is what it is. It's an Apex card. So, we will move forward, see what goes on this week. I believe Fluffy Hernandez is fighting. That's always fun. So, please like, subscribe, comment. Let me know what you thought about this card. Do any of you all bets? Do any of my followers or any of my guys that watch this show, do y'all bet? Let me know how well you did. And once again, I do want to thank you for joining me for another episode of Matter of Fact MMA. And I'll check you next time. Peace.